Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Way the Crow Flies, a novel, by Anne-Marie MacDonald. Narrated by Anne-Marie MacDonald.
Part 1. This land is your land. The birds saw the murder. Down below in the new grass, the tiny white bellheads of the lily of the valley. It was a sunny day. Twig crackling, early spring stirrings, spring soil smell. April. A stream through the nearby woods, so refreshing to the ear. It would be dry by the end of summer, but for now it rippled through the shade. High in the branches of an elm, that is where the birds were, perched among the many buds set to pleat like fresh hankies. The murder happened near a place kids called Rock Bass, in a meadow at the edge of the woods. A tamped-down spot, as though someone had had a picnic there. The crows saw what happened. Other birds were in the high branches, and they saw too. But crows are different. They are interested. Other birds saw a series of actions. The crows saw the murder. A light blue cotton dress. Perfectly still now. From high in the tree, the crows eyed the charm bracelet glinting on her wrist. Best to wait. The silver beckoned, but best to wait. Many splendored things. The sun came out after the war, and our world went technicolor. Everyone had the same idea. Let's get married. Let's have kids. Let's be the ones who do it right. It is possible in 1962 for a drive to be the highlight of a family week. King of the road, behind the wheel on 4 steel-belted tires, the sky's the limit. Let's just drive. We'll find out where we're going when we get there. How many more miles, Dad? Roads are endless vistas. City gives way to country barely mediated by suburbs. Suburbs are the best of both worlds. All you need is a car, and the world is your oyster, your Edsel, your Chrysler, your Ford. Trust Texaco. Traffic is not what it will be. What's more, it's still pretty neat. There's a 53 Studebaker coupe. Oh, look, there's the new Thunderbird. This land is your land. This land is my land. A moving automobile is second only to the shower when it comes to singing. The miles fly by, the landscape changes. They pass campers and trailers. Look, another Volkswagen Beetle. It is difficult to believe that Hitler was behind something so friendly-looking and familiar as a VW Bug. Dad reminds the kids that dictators often appreciate good music and are kind to animals. Hitler was a vegetarian and evil. Churchill was a drunk but good. The world isn't black and white, kids. In the back seat, Madeleine leans her head against the window frame, lulled by the vibrations. Her older brother is occupied with baseball cards. Her parents are up front enjoying the beautiful scenery. This is an ideal time to begin her movie. She hums Moon River and imagines that the audience can just see her profile, hair blowing back in the wind. They see what she sees out the window, the countryside, off to see the world. And they wonder where it is she is off to and what life will bring. There's such a lot of world to see. They wonder, who is this dark-haired girl with the pixie cut and the wistful expression? An orphan? An only child with a dead mother and a kind father? Being sent from her boarding school to spend the summer at the country house of mysterious relatives who live next to a mansion where lives a girl a little older than herself who rides horses and wears red dungarees? We're after the same rainbow's end, just around the bend. And they are forced to run away together and solve a mystery. My huckleberry friend. Through the car window, she pictures tall black letters superimposed on a background of speeding green, starring Madeleine McCarthy, punctuated frame by telephone poles. Moon River and me. It is difficult to get past the opening credits, so better simply to start a new movie. Pick a song to go with it. Madeleine sings sotto voce. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. Darn, we're stopping. "I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream," says her father, pulling over. Utterly wrapped up in her movie, Madeleine has failed to notice the big strawberry ice cream cone tilting toward the highway, festive in its party hat. "Yay!" she exclaims. Her brother rolls his eyes at her. Everything in Canada is so much bigger than it was in Germany. The cones, the cars, the supermarkets. She wonders what their new house will be like, and her new room. Will it be pretty? Will it be big? Que sera, sera. "Name your poison," says Dad at the ice cream counter, a white wooden shack. They sell fresh corn on the cob here, too. The fields are full of it, the kind Europeans call Indian corn. "Neapolitan, please," says Madeleine. Her father runs a hand through his sandy crew cut and smiles through his sunglasses at the fat lady in the shade behind the counter. He and her brother have matching haircuts, although Mike's hair is even lighter, wheat-colored. It looks as though you could remove waxy buildup from your kitchen floor by turning him upside down and plugging him in, but his bristles are actually quite soft. He rarely allows Madeleine to touch them, however. He has strolled away now toward the highway, thumbs hooked in his belt loops, pretending he is out in the world on his own, Madeleine knows. He must be boiling in those dungarees, but he won't admit it, and he won't wear shorts. Dad never wears shorts. "Mike, where do you think you're going?" she calls. He ignores her. He is going on 12. She runs a hand through her hair the way Dad does, loving its silky shortness. A pixie cut is a far cry from a crew cut, but it's also mercifully far from the waist-length braids she endured until this spring. She accidentally cut one off during crafts in school. Maman still loves her, but will probably never forgive her. Her mother waits in the Rambler. She wears the sunglasses she got on the French Riviera last summer. She looks like a movie star. Madeleine watches her adjust the rearview mirror and freshen her lipstick. Black hair, red lips, white sunglasses. Like Jackie Kennedy. She copied me. Mike calls her Maman, but for Madeleine, she is Maman at home and Mum in public. Mum is more carefree than Maman. Like penny loafers instead of Mary Janes. Mum goes better with Dad. Things go better with Coke. Her father waits with his hands in the pockets of his chinos, removes his sunglasses and squints up at the blue sky, whistling a tune through his teeth. "Smell the corn," he says. "That's the smell of pure sunshine." Madeleine puts her hands in the pockets of her short shorts, squints up, and inhales. In the car, her mother blots her lips together, eyes on the mirror. Madeleine watches her retract the lipstick into its tube. Ladies have a lot of things which look like candy, but are not. Her mother has saved her braids. They are in a plastic bag in the silverware chest. Madeleine saw her toss the bag in there just before the movers came. Now her hair is somewhere on a moving van, rumbling toward them. "Here you go, old buddy." Her father hands her an ice cream cone. Mike rejoins them and takes his. He has chosen chocolate as usual. "I'd rather fight than switch." Her father has rum and raisin. Does something happen to your taste buds when you grow up so that you like horrible flavors? Or is it particular to parents who grew up during the Depression when an apple was a treat? "Want a taste, sweetie?" "Thanks, Dad." She always takes a lick of his ice cream and says, "That's really good." Bugs Bunny would say, "You lie like a rug, Doc." But in a way, it isn't a lie, because it really is good to get ice cream with your dad, and when each of you takes a taste of the others, it's great. So Madeleine is not really lying. "Yeah, tell me another one, Doc." Maman never wants a cone of her own. She will share Dad's and take bites of Mike's and Madeleine's. That's another thing that happens when you grow up. At least, it happens to a great number of mothers. They no longer choose to have an ice cream cone of their own. Back in the car, Madeleine considers offering a lick to Bugs Bunny, but doesn't wish to tempt her brother's scorn. Bugs is not a doll. He is Bugs. He has seen better days. The tip of his orange carrot is worn white, but his big wise guy eyes are still bright blue, and his long ears still hold whatever position you bend them into. At the moment, his ears are twisted together like a braid down his back. Bavarian Bugs. Her father starts the engine and tilts his cone toward her mother, who bites it, careful of her lipstick. He backs the station wagon toward the highway and makes a face when he sees that his rearview mirror is out of whack. He gives Maman a look, and she makes a kiss with her red lips. He grins and shakes his head. Madeleine looks away, hoping they won't get mushy. She contemplates her ice cream cone. Neapolitan. Where to begin? She thinks of it as cosmopolitan, the word her father uses to describe their family. The best of all worlds. Outside the car windows, the corn catches the sun. Leafy stalks gleam in 3 greens. Arching oaks and elms line the curving highway. The land rolls and burgeons in a way that makes you believe that, yes, the earth is a woman, and her favorite food is corn. Tall and flexed and straining, emerald citizens. Fronds spiraling, cupping upward, swaddling the tender ears, the gift-wrapped bounty. The edible sun. The McCarthys have come home. To Canada. When you live in the Air Force, home is a variation on a theme. Home is Canada from sea to sea. Home is also the particular town you came from before you got married and joined the forces. And home is whatever place you happen to be posted, whether it's Canada, the US, Germany, France. Right now, home is this sky blue 1962 Rambler station wagon. Having adjusted his rearview mirror, Jack glances at his kids in the back seat. Peace reigns for now. Next to him, his wife opens her purse. He reaches forward and pushes in the automatic lighter on the dashboard. She glances at him. Small smile as she takes the cigarette from her pack. He winks at her. Your wish is my command. Home is this woman. The Trans-Canada Highway has been finished. You can dip your rear wheels in the Atlantic and drive until you dip your front ones in the Pacific. The McCarthys are not going that far, although they did start this leg of their journey at the Atlantic. They have been driving for 3 days, taking it easy, watching the scenery change. Fir trees give way to the St. Lawrence Seaway, the narrow, cultivated strips of old Quebec all along the broad river, the blue shimmer of the worn Laurentian mountains, the jet-smooth ride of the modern highway. Bienvenue à Montréal, welcome to Ottawa, to Kingston, to Toronto. Extending the summer holiday they spent with Mimi's family in New Brunswick, Nouveau-Brunswick. Salt swimming among the sandbars of the Northumberland Strait, and at night the winking lights of the ferry to Prince Edward Island. They rose early to watch the priest bless the multicolored fishing boats on opening day, le premier jour de pêche. Lobster feasts and noisy card games of 200 late into the night. Neighbors arriving to squeeze in at the kitchen table, placing their bets with mounds of pennies and Romoli chips, until the fiddles and accordion came out and Mimi's mother thumped out chords on the piano, her treble hand permanently bent into the shape of the hook she had used to make every quilt and rug in the house. L'Acadie. Language was no barrier. Jack basked in the French, in the food, in the celestial confusion of a big family. Mimi's father had been lost years before in a storm that capsized his lobster boat, and her brothers headed the family now. Big self-made men with a chain of seafood restaurants who took to Jack from the start when he and Mimi returned home after the war, engaged. Things happened fast back then, everyone understood. The brothers were barely out of uniform themselves. Jack was an Anglais, but he was theirs, and her family embraced him with a fervor equal to that which fueled their mistrust of the English in general. They accorded him the status of a prince, and extended to him the consideration usually reserved for ladies. The best of both worlds. Jack eats his ice cream, one hand on the wheel, and makes a mental note to start jogging again once they get settled in. Over the past month, his sisters-in-law, les belles-sœurs, have fed him like a prize calf. Flour, maple sugar, potato, pork, and clams. The possible permutations are dizzying, delicious, and fattening. It seems there is nothing that cannot be transformed into poutine. What is poutine? It is what you make when you make poutine. He has only had to loosen his belt by 1 notch, but Jack has a beautiful wife. One who still runs into the water like a girl, bikini svelte despite 2 children, breaststroking through the waves, keeping her head up so as not to spoil her dew. Yes, he'll start running again once they get to their new home. Behind him, his son's voice disgusted. "Madeleine, it's melting right down your arm." "No, it's not." Maman, says Mike, leaning forward, Madeleine fait un mess. I am not making a mess, licking her wrist, salty skin and murky vanilla. Mimi reaches back with a wet nap. Tiens. Madeleine takes it and wipes her hand. She tries to get Mike to hold her ice cream cone, but he says, no way, it's all gobbed. So Mimi holds it, and while Madeleine wipes her hands, she licks the ice cream drips. It is also a characteristic of mothers that they don't mind eating their child's soggy ice cream cone. Madeleine returns the wet nap in exchange for her ice cream, but feels suddenly unwell. It's the wet nap smell. Pre-moistened for your convenience. Disinfects, too. The smell reminds Madeleine of throw up. That's because when you get car sick and throw up, your mother wipes your face with a wet nap, so of course wet naps come to stand for throw up. They smell more like throw up than throw up. She passes the ice cream back to her mother. I'm full, she says. Mike says, she's gonna barf. I am not, Mike, don't say barf. Well, you just said it, barf. That's enough, Mike, says Jack, and Mike stops. Mimi turns and looks back at Madeleine with the, are you going to throw up expression. It makes her have to throw up. Her eyes water. She puts her face to the open window and drinks in the fresh air. Wills herself not to think of anything sickening. Like the time a girl threw up in kindergarten and it hit the floor with a splash. Don't think about that. Mike has retreated as far as possible to his side of the seat. Madeleine turns carefully and focuses on the back of Dad's head. That's better. As seen from the back seat of the car, it is as recognizable, as much him as his face. As unmistakable as your own car in a parking lot. His head, squarish, clean. It says what it means, you don't have to figure it out. His shoulders under his checked short-sleeved shirt. Elbow out the window, halo of light brown hairs combed by the wind. Right hand on the wheel, glint of his university ring. Old Spice. Across the back of his neck, one faint line. A seam that stays paler than his sunburn. The back of Dad's head. It's the other side of his face. His other face. In fact, he has told you he has eyes back there. This is reassuring. It means he knows who starts most of the fights in the back seat. Mike, quit it, cries Madeleine. I'm not doing anything. Mike, don't tease your sister. Dad, I'm not teasing her. She pinched me. Madeleine, don't torment your brother. Maman does not have eyes in the back of her head, or she wouldn't say such a thing. Mike crosses his eyes at her. Mike! Her 8-year-old shriek like a handsaw. Stop it! Tenez-vous tranquille maintenant, eh? Your father's driving, says Maman. Madeleine has seen the muscles in her father's neck contract at her screech, and she softens. She doesn't want to make him have to pull over and face the back seat. That means a spoiled treat and a good dose of shame for having ruined such a nice drive through such lovely scenery. His voice will be disappointed, his blue eyes bewildered, especially his left one with the light scar that traverses his brow. The lid droops slightly so that his left eye always looks a little sad. Chantons les enfants, says Maman, and they sing. Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Billboards loom in farmers' fields. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and be saved. Soldier rows of leafy beets that slow down or speed up depending on whether you focus on the dirt between the rows or on the blur of green. Kodak, Dairy Queen, the wages of sin is death. Barns neat and scrubbed. The congenial whiff of cow pies and wood fires reminds Madeleine of home. Germany, that is. She closes her eyes. She has just said goodbye to another house, on an Air Force base near the Black Forest. Say goodbye to the house, kids. And they pulled away for the last time. Each house stands mute and innocent, like a poor animal left behind. The windows wide-eyed, bereft of drapes. The front door mouth sad and sealed. Goodbye, dear house. Thank you for all the nice times. Thank you for all the remember-whens. The sad house left behind solidifies in memory to become a monument to a former time, a marker for the place you can never get back to. That's how it is in the Air Force. This is Madeleine's third move, and Mike's fourth. He insists that she can't possibly remember her first move from Alberta to Michigan, because she was only 3 going on 4. Yet he claims to remember his first move from Washington, D.C. to Alberta, despite the fact that he was barely 3. Such are the injustices of living with an older brother. "Dad," says Madeleine from the back seat, "I do so remember leaving the base in Alberta, don't I?" "Sure you do. Remember the skating rink we made in the backyard?" She looks pointedly at her brother. "Yup." "There you go. But base is actually an American term, old buddy. The correct term is station." "Yeah," says Mike. They left Europe in June, and for the better part of 2 months, Mike and Madeleine were indulged by their Acadian aunts and uncles in New Brunswick and ran wild with their cousins. Dozens of them. Wild, black-haired boys you are not supposed to have a crush on because you're related to them. Sexy girls who shave their legs before they're 12. They speak rapid French. Just try to keep up. And if you've gone somewhere in a car with them, make sure you get in before it leaves again. Mike and Madeleine watched television for the first time in 4 years. No one had a television set on the base in Germany. There were movies at the rec center, reliably preceded by Looney Tunes and Mickey Mouse. There were Friday night suppers with Maman, listening to Jack Benny on the radio before Dad got home from TGIF at the officers' mess. But TV opened up a brave new world of page boys, chiffon scarves, and madras shorts, of carefree teenagers and surfboards. The cousins were more like Connie Francis than Sandra Dee, more Sal Mineo than Troy Donahue, but they had roller skates, cars, and dentine, and big fridges. Welcome to North America. Madeleine accepts the idea that she loves them all, parce que c'est la famille, says her mother. Family has almost as mythic a ring to it as home. When they pulled away from Grandmama's old pink bungalow, Dad said, "Let's head for home. What do you think, kids?" Madeleine waved to Grandmama on the porch of the house that looked like a powdery peppermint. Big fat Grandmama in her bungalow, brightly painted so Grandpapa could see it from his fishing boat out on the water. It was only the second time in Madeleine's life that she remembered visiting her grandmother, but her eyes filled with tears because Grandmaman is another word for home. "What do you say, missus?" said Dad as they left behind the sea and dunes. "Take me home, Jack," said Maman, and wiped her eyes behind her sunglasses. For a split second, Madeleine imagined they were driving back to Germany, to the green lawns and white buildings of the Air Force Base, and in the nearby town, cobblestones and sidewalk cafes, the tightly stitched countryside, no patch of land unspoken for, no inch uncherished, a different country every couple of hours on a Sunday drive. The German language she had taken to, the language of fairy tales, Märchen, in which she felt wrapped up and safe, like dressing up in her mother's mouton coat. The language that made people smile in surprise, women behind shop counters who were delighted by her proficiency and teased her parents about their bad Kanadische Deutsch as they offered tastes of cheese and always Schokolade für die Kinder. The first German words she and Mike learned, Dankeschön. If your father is in the Air Force, people ask you where you are from, and it's difficult to answer. The answer becomes longer the older you get because you move every few years. Where are you from? I'm from the Royal Canadian Air Force, the RCAF, like a country whose bits are scattered around the globe. Each bit, each base, looks like every other, so there is a consistency to this nation. Like walking into any Catholic church and hearing the Latin Mass, you can go to a base, station that is, anywhere in the world and understand it. The recreation center, the churches, the post office, bank and fire hall, the parade square, the library, the airfield, the building where your father works. And the PX for groceries and everything else. PX is another American term they picked up in Europe. If you live in what are called PMQs, permanent married quarters, your house will be familiar too. There's a handful of designs, early suburban blueprints, mostly semi-detached, except for the tiny bungalows and the big house where the CO lives, commanding officer. There is a flagpole on his lawn. By the time you're 8 years old, you have probably seen the inside of each type of house in the PMQs, sometimes in mirror image. And yet, somehow, each house becomes unique once a family moves in. Unique smells, instant accumulation of treasures, pictures, and lived-in mess. All of it emerges from cardboard boxes that kids make into forts and play in for days before they collapse. And by the time they do collapse, the house looks as though the family has always lived there, because an Air Force wife can put together a home inside a week. Each regulation lawn bristles with individuality. Bikes, strewn toys, a different car in every driveway. Each refrigerator opening onto a world of its own. Some people's fridges contain tins of Hershey's chocolate sauce. Others contain Hershey's tins that harbor lard and other horrible surprises. That is the McCarthy's fridge. Madeleine's mother wastes nothing, having grown up in the Depression. Although, considering that everyone else's mother grew up in the Depression too, perhaps it's an Acadian thing, or merely maritime, Canada's have-not provinces. So, despite the uniformity of design, no two houses in the PMQs are exactly alike until that in-between time, when one family moves out and the next one moves in. In that space of time, the house is no one's. It belongs to the taxpayers of Canada. During that no one's time, the house is scrubbed, disinfected, painted white, stripped of blinds, invaded by echoes. It stands suspended, like a deconsecrated church. Not evil, just blank, neither dead nor living. It comes alive again when a new family pulls into the driveway and says hello to it. Madeleine reaches into her new Mickey Mouse Club knapsack for her autograph book. Everyone in her grade 3 class back in Germany signed it. She opens it. "Yours until Niagara Falls," wrote Sarah Dowd, the last letters tumbling down the page. "Yours till the mountains peak to see the salad dressing. Love your friend forever, Judy Kinch. Roses are red, lilies are white. I love you, dear Madeleine, morning, noon, and night. Your best friend, Laurie Ferry." The book is full. All have sworn to write. Madeleine and Laurie Ferry have sworn to meet on New Year's Day of the year 2000 in the playground of their PMQs in Germany. The printed letters look lonely all of a sudden. Gay pencil crayon colors like party decorations after the party. She closes the book, puts it away, and takes a deep breath of clover air. There's no reason to feel sad on such a beautiful day when you have your whole life ahead of you. That's what grown-ups say. She pictures her life rolled out ahead of her like a highway. How do you know when you're actually traveling along your life that was ahead of you but is now beneath your feet? How many more miles? It's hard to move into a new house without thinking of the day when you will be leaving. Say goodbye to the house, kids. And you will all be that much older. Madeleine is 8, going on 9 now, so she will be going on 12 next time. Almost a teenager. And her parents will be older too. She tries to remember that they are younger now. But she can't help looking at it in the opposite way. They are older than they were in the last house. And that means they will die sooner. Every house is a step closer to that terrible day. Which house will be the last? Maybe this one. The one we are on our way to say hello to. The sun warms the lump in her throat and threatens to set tears overflowing her lids. So she closes her eyes and rests her temple against the window frame, soothed by the vibrations of the road. The wind in her hair is swift but gentle. The sun through her closed lids, a kaleidoscope of reds and golds. Outside, the afternoon intensifies. August is the true light of summer. Thick tenor saxophone light, unlike the trumpets of spring, the strings of autumn. Visible grains of sunlight fall in slow motion, grazing skin. Catch them like snowflakes on your tongue. The land is bursting, green and gold and bark. The stalks sway heavy with corn, slowing the breeze. The countryside reclines, abundant and proud like a mightily pregnant woman lounging. Pick your own, say handwritten signs. Pick me. The Indians grew corn. This is the part of Ontario first taken from them by settlers. They fought here alongside the English, first against the French, then against the Americans in the War of 1812. Now there are reservations. Their long houses and villages survive as drawings in 6th grade history books and life-size reproductions in tourist villages. Their tobacco is a big cash crop in these parts, but they don't grow it. The ground is still full of their belongings, and many places have been named for their nations and in their languages, including Canada. Some say Canada means village of small.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?